you're going to end up cutting this part off anyway, because I got to get dogs inside.
Okay. Well, then you shouldn't have pressed record. But
Well, I can't press record from the back.
hurry up.
Come on, dog.
Okay. Shut door. Hey y'all, how's everybody doing tonight? It's Gina Ask Me. You're watching The Power of Healing. So, tonight's episode is the other half of the sexual assault video. This part is about my daughter. It's just, it's an incredible story. I don't know if I've ever heard of this happening. I know it is a cycle in most families, but so my story, I want to start with some stats because I think this is really important, because information is power. Knowledge is power. So I want to start, and I'm going to put some of these numbers on my, not the bio, but my description of the video. The arrow, just go down, and these numbers will be on there for you all. Some stats. They're pretty crazy. And I did it on 12 years old and up. The statistics are 62,939 were assaulted or raped in the United States alone in 2000, I believe, in 14. Every 107 seconds, a woman or a man is raped. It's just incredible. We talked about a little bit about teen sexual assault, but what we didn't talk about is most teen assaults go unreported. And when I tell you my daughter's story, it's gonna like freak you out, because I still get pissed off thinking about it. I start shaking. So the National Domestic Violence and Sexual Assault Hotline is 1-800-799-SAFE. Again, 1-800-799-7833. Okay, and I'll put these numbers and websites on. And the national sexual website is called RAINN. RAINN is a magnificent website. It will give you information on what to do, where to go, first things to do, numbers, local hospitals. It's a wonderful website. The website, I will put that on my description. I want to tell you some red flags. Early detection is key. Is just key of preventing deeper issues. Some teens, some women, it takes years, some a lifetime. They never get over it because they don't get the proper help, or any help for that matter. So parents, if you have a teen, some red flags. This may seem like common sense, but you know your child, if they start pulling away, staying in their room, mood swings, angry, telling you off all the time where normally they wouldn't, start making excuses They don't feel good. They don't want to go to school. Or if it's a family member, anger is mostly, if it's a family member, it's anger. That's what happened to me before 13. Anger, 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 because nobody was there to protect me. At, 13, that's just too young. But look for not wanting to go to school, grades dropping. Just look for them red flags. If their personality changes and you don't understand why, communication is key. Keep the line of communication open at all times. I mean, I thought I was so close to my daughter, and it took her 2 weeks to tell me. And my mother and her were like best friends. I mean, there was no two there were no two closer, and it took her 2 weeks to even tell her. So look out for these red flags, parents. Ask questions. Don't ever be afraid to ask questions. I don't care if it's a little red flag. Who cares? Just ask the questions, communicate, talk to your kids. So I want to tell you some rules. These are, without a doubt, number one rules. I know we like to think our children are angels, but they're not. Yes, we're not supposed to drink before we're 21, but we all know that not all, but most of our children experiment at alcohol at the least. Parties. And a lot of date rapes or rapes happen at these parties. There's a lot of date rape drugs, and I want to name off a few. Some may know, some may not, just in case. We got GBH, Rufinol, ketamine. Those are the three main ones. These drugs are clear, odorless, tasteless, for the most part, especially in tropical drinks or with juice. Teens don't think. They don't think to watch their drink. They don't think when a guy comes, all flirty and hands her a drink, they don't think anything. Why would you, right? But in today's world, you have to. Number one rule, don't ever leave your drink alone if you have one. You have it in your hand, glued to it. If you're going to do it, have that drink glued to your hand. If by chance you're in a bar, same goes. Don't ever leave your drink. Take it with you to the bathroom. I don't care where you go. If a guy buys you a drink, watch the bartender make it. If he comes and hands it to you, do not accept it, or accept it and throw it away. You never accept a drink if you don't see it literally with your own eyes being made. Especially at a party where no one's watching, nothing. Sometimes they make punch bowls, full of alcohol, and you don't just dip your cup in, and they could slip that. It could be in the cup before they dip it in, or pour it in, and you'd never know it. These drugs, they knock you out, but you feel and you know everything that's going on, but you're paralyzed. It's horrible. You can't do anything but lay there. a lot of gang rapes are common using these drugs. It's disgusting. Street names, just if you ever hear them, you ever hear a guy, they think you're stupid, whatever. The drug names are Roofie, Special K, Liquid E, Everclear. There's a million more, and I believe on the RAIN website, again, I'm going to have it in my description on my video. I'm going to have a lot of information on their contact numbers. If you are out of state and you want stats or you want information, you want numbers of women's shelters, places you can go, I'll get that information for you. Again, I have it on my website, how to come on anonymous if you don't want to, ask with your name. And you can ask me anything, and it's anonymous, and nobody will know it's you. So, now that we got a little bit of the stats, I'm sorry. 1/3. 1/3. Like, again, we like to think our children are angels. 1/3 of adolescents have sex before the age of 16. Salted caramel iced coffee. It's not even right how good it is. So, I mean, come on. My daughter, she was not an angel, but she never got into the drinking and the drug scene. She just never did. Ever. I mean, she drinks here and there, and if it's not what she likes, she won't even drink it. She drinks wine coolers, and that's watermelon vodka she likes. And if it's not that, she won't drink it. She's not a, now that we're older, she tells me everything, that I think, but, she has no reason not to tell me, but, she just is not the drug type. She's seen too much. There's a lot of drug issues in our family. So, parents, one more thing before I go on to my daughter's story. The sooner they get help, the better, because it starts as depression, and it leads to can lead to some very serious issues. The depression can become clinical, and again, some women never get over it. They never ever get over it, even with counseling and group therapy, which guys, I consider this group therapy. That's what this channel is, the power of healing. My group therapy, I love my girls. And as we go along, we're going to get into a lot lighter issues. And we're going to have some fun, trust me. But this is a serious issue. And I want to talk to you about my daughter's story. She was supposed to be here, but circumstances, So, okay. So we're going to start with our last video. We ended with, it's never your fault. Never. Never, ever, ever, never, ever, ever. I can't say it enough. It is never your fault. So, my daughter was born with CMV. It is called cytomegalovirus. So look it up. All you gotta do is CMV. It's a virus. We all have it in our bodies, kind of like TB. Some are latent, which are carriers, and some are active, like the herpes virus. We all have it in its active, latent. So hers become active. She moved her bowels in the womb, and she was born with CMV, which left calcium deposits on the brain, left her left side partially paralyzed, deaf in her right ear, and many, many learning disabilities. Her fine motor skills were damaged. You would never know it to look at her unless somebody said she had this or she was born with it, and then if you looked at her, you could see that her left hand, she like crooks it sometimes. So anyways, Sierra was born with this. So school was a nightmare for her, gym class. I tried very hard to get her out of it. I couldn't. The school was idiots. They were asses. So gym class was a nightmare because she couldn't do what all the other kids can do. She was partially paralyzed. So if they would have basketball or volleyball, of course she sucked, and they would lose or whatever. So she was picked on a lot. One of her learning disabilities is communication. Communicating is very hard for her. Like I'm communicating to you now. I'm telling you a story. You and I, you're watching me and we're talking, and I say we're because again, this is group therapy, and I'm conversing with you. She has a hard time conversing. I don't know why, but that is one of the things that she has trouble with. So we lived in a very, very small town. There was maybe, I don't know, 4,000 people, if that. So it was kind of every mother watched everybody else's child. I hated it because I couldn't get away with nothing. I would ride my bike. I'd never forget it. I'd ride my bike down the corner, and somebody's mother that lived by the corner, my mother would call them and say, can you go yell out because she lived next door, can you yell out the door, tell my daughter to get her ass home? I'm not kidding. And she would yell out her door, Gina and my brothers and sisters, get your asses home now. And we did, believe me. And so everybody knew everybody's business. But on the upside, it was kind of like takes a village. Everybody watched everybody else's child. Excuse me. And so it was a very small town. Sarah didn't have very many friends because of, like I said, the disability, and had a hard time making friends. And so she had a friend, and her friend's boyfriend lived a few houses down from us. And she was friends with him, obviously, because, she would hang out with her girlfriend, and he'd be over there, and, he was like hop, skip, and a jump from our house. Well, it was her girlfriend's birthday coming up, and now they've been hanging out for at least a year, and see each other every day in school. So, and he's been at my house. She's been at his house. met his parents. The parents loved her. He's been at my house, you know, ate dinner and everything. I mean, no big deal. Mom, I'm going to so and so's. It was her girlfriend's birthday, and he wanted her opinion on the gift. He wanted her to see the gifts he bought her, and wanted her opinion. So she went over, and so they went in. This is exactly how she told it to the T. They went in, and nobody was home, which wasn't abnormal. You know, she's been there many times with the parents not home, but usually his mom was home. So they go in his room, which again was not abnormal. His mom was always home, the door was always open. They'd go in there, homework, whatever. Same grade, couple, same classes. So they started talking about the presents, and he did. He'd had a couple of presents for his girlfriend, who was my daughter's friend. And all of a sudden they were sitting on the bed, and he kissed her, and she pushed him away hard, and he thought it was a game or something, and laughed real hard and went to kiss her again, pushed her down on the bed, and she pushed him off again, because I guess I get real fried. And so when she pushed him off the second time, he slapped her real hard in the right jaw. And it was red when she come home. So, and then it turned into a bruise. It was bruised for about a week. So he must have slapped her pretty damn hard. So when he slapped her, she went to get up, run, get out, and he pushed her down, and her left side being partially paralyzed, she didn't have the strength, and he raped her. Well, all those red flags we were talking about, she had them all. She usually was a chatterbox. You couldn't shut her up. Literally, there was days I'd be like, shut up. you know, if you're a mom and you got a teenage girl, oh, mom, Jesus, mamma mia, they're chuches, little chuches. So she was quiet and in her room a lot, and did the stomach ache, and she missed about 2-3 days of school, and then I forced her to go back. I said, Sarah, you can't miss any more school. You got to go to school. Excuse me. So she was bullied in school. And I had to go to the principal's office and flip out as a mom, call some parents in. But the bullying got worse because he went to school and spread it all over school that she was a whore and tried to sleep with him. And so he just said a bunch of crap. And that was just it. It was all over. I mean, it was open game season. Open season on Sierra. So they bullied her so bad. One girl got expelled from school because they had cameras in the hallways. She was just walking by Sarah and just got her head and jammed it in the locker. She come home with a fat lip. And one girl smacked her in the face, and she was pregnant. So she took it. That's the one that got expelled. That's the one that pushed her head in the locker. The other one got, I think, 2 weeks suspension, and the next time she would be expelled. But it got so bad. I finally confronted her. 2 weeks later, I said, "What is going on with you? You know, this is, you know, what's the matter?" And, you know, she gave me some bullshit story about the bruise on her, because she would fall all the time, because of her left side. Well, she finally come out with it. And, she told me and my mom. My mouth dropped open. I was quiet for a minute. And, you know, all you mothers out there with teenage daughters, just put yourself in my position for 1 second. Imagine your teenage daughter 2 weeks later. So I was just devastated. Devastated. So, do you see where the freaky part is coming into play? My daughter and I were both raped at 16. And they both were kind of date raped. Date rape. Both. And I mean, we didn't even know, because number one, I never told her. Why would I tell her, you know, about my situation? And once she told me hers, well, it was nothing mattered. Nothing in but her. So, on top of that, the man, biological man, whatever he is, didn't believe her, nor did her stepmother. It's not surprising, but I can't get into all that, because she asked me not to, so. Okay, so I was at a loss. I was a massage therapist then. I was working 2 jobs. I was gone a lot, which, you know, I blame a little on myself. Blame. You play the blame, the guilt. So, first thing I did was call the rape hotline. They said, go straight to the hospital, you know, get a rape kit. Well, it was already 2 weeks later. No rape kit. No evidence. Her word against his. Well, we all know how that goes, don't we? So, went down to state police, got the sexual assault detective. You know, they have a detective who's in charge of just sexual assault, just rapes and sexual assault. So it was a woman. So we sat at, one of those big, beautiful lawyer tables, and excuse me. And Sarah began to tell her story. She asked her, okay, what happened? Let's start from the beginning. And so she starts and she tells it. And she was nervous, so it wasn't coming out real clear. Wasn't coming out like, oh, this devastated, traumatized teenager who was raped. When Sarah is nervous, she laughs. When she's scared, she looks around. Part of the learning disability is part of her personality. So she told the story just like I just told it to you, a little more detail. And when she was done, the detective called me into the next room over, and she looked right in my face and said, I don't believe her. Just like that. I said, excuse me? I thought I was just hearing things, and I was like, what? What did you just